guys, my name is Sediak and welcome to episode 2 of FishTown here in City Skylines 2, where boys, we're creating the great nation of FishTown, all based on the fishing industry. What you can see right now is my fishing boat heading out right now to collect some beautiful fish before sailing all the way back to its own harbour to store it. We currently have 7.12 tons of fish, but at the minute we've got no way to kind of sell it. So today's episode is all pretty much going to be about being able to export the first remnants of our fishing industry, but also allow us to start importing some products that we don't produce for our nation. Now guys, if you are enjoying this, want to see this series continue, then make sure you smash that like button down below, subscribe if you are new so you do get notified when more episodes do come out. If you haven't seen the first episode, I highly recommend going to check it out. Subscribe right now so you are notified. Don't rely on the recommended tab. And also guys, if you don't know what this series is about, I am building a nation based on the fishing industry. We are completely isolated, and to drive our economy, we can only produce products from said fishing industry. Anything else, like chicken, we're going to have to import it from the outside region. So today then, in this episode, we're going to hopefully focus on creating some imports and exports. Now, with my brave choices and obviously choosing the cheaper version of the passenger ferry harbour, we're now only losing 4,300 monthly, which is great news. It means we can get to making profit so much quicker. And that might all start when we start implementing the exports. Now, in previous series like Oil Town, I've used, in terms of ferries right now, the harbour, which is 30 grand for passengers, and then to get the cargo harbour, which starts at 33, very expensive, and why we struggle to make money. Now, in the new DLC, we can create our own ports, which I will do eventually, but not anytime soon because it's all based on money. I can utilise the breakwater cargo pier, which this is very similar to the current passenger pier we've got. The only difference is it accepts cargo boats as opposed to passenger boats. Now we've just got to figure out where exactly we want to put it. So I got to think of the bigger picture. Are we going to be extending down here with cargo? It's going to come to an eventual end. I feel like we need to build like an industrial area at some point in the future, a little bit more inland of this island. So I've got a couple of options. I can pretty much place down this cargo harbour, let's say for example here. I could also do it here to create a nice little harbour. I could place it down here, but it kind of feels out the way. If I placed it here, you can see where the breakwater then kind of works and creates a nice little inlet for our passenger side. But it would mean I have to slightly re-navigate through all of this, and it also means all my cargo to initially begin with is going to come into our town of Kensington, which could be a problem, but let's just see what it looks like moving forward. So are these the same spacing, 120, 112? They're not really the same spacing, but where would I want to place down the harbour? So if I just move this down just a tad bit more, I reckon we place this... I reckon, I think that's too close, but I reckon somewhere like here is viable. So let me pause and let's delete what we've currently got on the go just there. So let's just delete that to there and then re-put this back, well, re-put this in now. So if I assisted it to go on the junction or just a little bit after the junction, I reckon we go to about there. And I need to anarchy this, by the way. So if I reckon we go there, we'll give it a free space and drop it there. How does that look? Now, if it's anything like what we've done with the passenger harbour, it does slightly hover in the sky. So I reckon we drop that down to where it's now officially touching the water. And there we go. We've now created this nice little inlet area here for our passenger. And you could argue we need to kind of then break it a bit more for the cargo, but we'll leave that for a later date. So let's get this all now set up with the very, very narrow seaway. So if I continue this to come down straight, right, I can bring this slightly out, not by much though, I don't think. Yeah, something like that works. And then of course, running this up and out as well. So that makes it very, very simple to get ships in and out of the area. And now we have cargo set up as well. So very, very basic. I could now start to kind of like fine tune this a bit more with the harbour, but we're going to leave it like that. It's interesting to say the least, okay? It is interesting to say the least. Now, there is nothing I can add additional onto it apart from some extra warehouse upgrades. So maybe we decide that we need to, let's just say, extend this road out a little bit more. And we de-zone the residence section just there because it's not going to really make that much more sense. And do we now try and commit? So if I come off this to there, what is that distance there? It's a 112, so it's the same distance with that. But that gives me a more direct route to the road. So we don't have to base it off coming through here. We got, like I said, a more direct route to the road there. And we could, in theory, add an additional warehouse. So if I put the warehouse here. Actually, no, I'm going to put it just there. Or do I put it this way? Can it fit in this way? No, it's a little bit too big. Actually, if I fit it in this way, it's a 3. I could get 2 in. But it would mean also getting rid of the zoning for that residential house. Delete you, delete you. And how much are those, by the way? They are... wow, okay, they carry quite a lot of ton of storage, so maybe we don't need that many. Right, I'm trying to get this to stay rotated. Oi, stay rotated. How do I rotate these? Oi, stay rotated. Right, I'm going to delete this. And let's try that again. I'm trying to make these stay completely rotated. Right, so that would go there. Which, getting rid of the anarchy. Why will that not rotate just here? Don't do this to me. How do I get something to rotate anyway? Without having to... Let's make it stop snapping. Snap to the sides of the roads. Right, it's still snapping, isn't it? It's also trying to snap to the building. Oh, don't snap to the owner. Right, snap to the... There we go. That's all I needed to do. And anarchy that in. Right. Sweet, mate. Get rid of you. Apparently, you've got no road access. How have you got no road access? You're literally connected to said road. But I'm going to run that up. And I'm going to run that going down the back end of it. But apparently, it's not liking it. Is it because it needs side access? That one doesn't need side access. So why is this one complaining about... Oh, sorry. Is it the building underneath, the residential building, that's complaining about the access? I think it might be. Right, that's as close as you get into a little bit of an industrial area to begin with. So now, we need to create the boat route. So, I don't know what the best way to go about doing this would be. So, that's a boat line. I need a cargo ship line. So, from there, going all the way out and then back again. Now, the problem is, right, I need it. Let me pause again. To be a certain type of boat. So I can't do cargo ship. I'm going to have to do small cargo, the smallest one available. And then we'll go from there. So there is a boat coming in, which is my ferry boat, which is carrying 2 passengers. And we should see a cargo ship spawning at some point. And of course, bring in some imports. Now, with that said, we've got to kind of take a look at the taxation. So, ideally, I want to tax 8 or tax products I don't want to produce. So, the whole point of this series is to only produce and export and earn money based on the fishing industry. So I am going to quickly pause right now, and I'm going to change the taxation up to 20% on all industry except anything that relates to fishing. So for us fishing here, we bring this down to 10% because we're going to be earning money from that. So the reason we're earning money now is because we're selling it to the commercial buildings. Now, I don't know if anything else requires fish at this moment in time. You could argue the same here, but the commercial has to sell a little bit of everything anyway. So you don't want to tax the commercial. They're going to sell as normal. And this stuff, we don't really mind. It's the industry that we're kind of focusing on. So if we hinder, right, the industries to not produce or tax them on producing stuff outside of the industry, it means we import it. I've basically put a tariff on our own stuff. So little bit industry there. Is that building still there? Let me go to move this. No. Do I need to flip it round? Right, what doesn't have an entry point? You're joking me, right? You're actually joking me at this point? Right, if that went that side and then this went this side... Are you going to rotate? Okay. We'll only do one, because I don't think we need two anyway. Or is it just that one complaining? Hold on, is it just this one complaining? Let me put this back. So that goes there. Can I then build an additional one? No. Okay, fine. I didn't want it anyway, boys. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a nice little industrial building here. And that will be our first type of industry. So hopefully it kind of pushes more towards the fishing industry, is what I'm saying. Right, there's our little fishing boat now. I think that's our first cargo boat coming in, which has got some vegetables on board. Now, it's only small capacity, so it will take time. It will take time. Now, the issue we've got next is we don't have vehicles on the island. Because we're isolated, they can't bring them in. So I'm not sure how this is going to work. I think we might need to actually build a cold storage building for the harbour. Does that give it its own vehicles? Yes, vehicles in use 5. It gives it vehicles. I think it already had vehicles anyway, but I'm just kind of giving us some more. So at least, does this have vehicles? Yes. The ferry harbour, cargo harbour, and the fishing harbour, if you just want to call it that, both have vehicles we can use, but I'm not sure if they're going to use them. So we're building a factory there. They're complaining. They're waiting for a hearse, so we are going to start needing like normal stuff to run a community. And how much are we losing now? Okay, so we are losing a bit more money, but we're not really exporting anything just yet. So let's slowly start getting in some of the stuff in question. So a UK parish church would be a pretty good idea. So we're about to bend around here. So I wonder if it makes sense to kind of squeeze it around here somewhere. So I reckon maybe just at the end here. So if I get like a little dirt road, and let's say we come off it. Let's go there. So if I went there and then just went across like that. Okay, it's a bit too far over, so delete you. And then we'll stick it like that. Is that more on one side than the other? Yes. It's kind of hard to tell, isn't it? But let's just drop that little church down there. So a little church on the outskirts of the town right there, and that will be basically a cemetery for burying the bodies. Right, here comes our little cargo boat now coming in. So there's a little fast forward. as it now sails in, boys. And it should dock. So I'm thinking about kind of landscaping to make it a little bit deeper in this area, and then building some more rocks so it's a bit more natural and whatnot. Because the ferry has to kind of almost beach itself to turn around. So that's now storing some vegetables locally, which is good to see. And is that a vehicle? Oh, it's the hearse. It's our hearse driving around. So I don't know technically how people are going to pick up the items if they've got no vehicles. Unless they've discovered, you know, teleportation devices. I'm not particularly too sure at the moment, boys. We shall see. We shall see. So that is now just been built. It is a manufactures food. Interesting. Requires vegetables and livestock. So for that reason, it will have to import the goods, but it will very quickly become a little bit too expensive for them to operate. Now, it will produce some pollution, which, when I think about it now, I think the wind blows in that direction. So we're going to see some pollution blowing over those houses. But this won't stay here for long. I'll eventually kind of start designing a proper industrial area somewhere at some point. It's just to kind of get us all up and running. So, as of this point then, we officially have a fish industry. We are producing fish, of course. Now, did it take anything back? Was it exporting anything just yet? I think it's a bit too soon to export anything just yet. We need more of a surplus. So, if we go to our... where do I see it right now? Production. Because all this stuff's now changed, by the way. It's all completely differently laid out. So, you can see for fish... Right, we have a, I think the green is the surplus. So you've got the agricultural, the fish, and the surplus. We got a huge surplus by the looks of it. It's all surplus. It's all legit surplus. But the fish goes into processing convenience food, and then having a surplus of it means we export it. So... we just need to create more so we can then pretty much sell more of it. So let's see what we can do over here to begin with then. So we've got our little fishing area, which is great. We can also do the open water fish farming, and that's to do with cages. So I think, why is it not coming up? There we go. We want to do cages maybe around here. So if I put that to kind of go about there... and then we just kind of do a nice little circular area around here. And then attach that to there to begin with. So one's open water, one's cage fishing, basically. And then we will create a route. So we'll bring this one from this inner side. And then take it over there and then bring it back. And that's our second fishing line right now that we've got then set up. So now we... oh, hello. Now we've got fish farms on the go. That's interesting, isn't it? I like that. I kind of like it because obviously we can make it avoid like the main shipping routes and paths. So very interesting. There's our passenger ferry right now bringing an extra 10 people in. And the cargo boat is bringing in more vegetables. So we might need to increase, because of the size of the ships that we're using, because we can't really go too big because it will look a little bit ridiculous. I might actually increase that so we've got 3 cargo ships in total, so we can kind of get the goods in a little bit quicker. And I don't know when we're going to see the exports going out, because obviously we've got to drop the goods off here, but we don't have any cargo vehicles. So that might be a huge problem for us. We can only consume so much fish and send it to our own residents. There's only so much we can actually do. So let's see what we can do here in terms of slightly extending this nice, glorious little town. So I probably won't bring it to the crematorium. We'll do like a nice little walkable path of some sorts. But we'll kind of cut through it like that. And then we'll add in some more residents. So keeping it simple. And we'll do the zoning. So I won't do any commercial here because it's like the edge of the town now at this point. We'll keep it as it is. Alright, there we go. Do it like this and it will kind of naturally catch itself up with the building. That will add in a fair few more residents for us. Keeping it simple, boys. Keeping it simple. Now, I won't add any more services on until they start crying out for it. We'll leave it like that. But there's that boat now heading out of here. Nothing on board yet, so we're not technically exporting just yet. But we are losing more money than what we started with. But we're getting more cargo ships on the way in. So they should start importing more goods to kind of make us somewhat viable. Yes. It's very interesting not seeing any vehicles whatsoever. It feels like a ghost town, doesn't it? It makes it feel more isolated than it actually is. Right, even more vegetables coming on board right now. We're getting so many vegetables, boys. We've got 45 tons of veg. Another 15 tons of veg coming in. There we go, there we go. That's now making its way in. So yeah, I would like to do more of this rock kind of formation. Let's kind of bring it all down. But exporting is going. So it's a different boat I've just realized over here for like when it gets all the cage stuff on. So that's definitely creating more. So I'm not sure. And this is the thing that we probably have to wait for. I don't think it will send the fish to be exported until we reach a certain storage level. I think that's pretty much how it's going to work. So, what if I just created a few more routes? So, from this side here, we send you that way. So, we'll kind of crisscross them now just for the funsies. And you to there. So, that creates a few more routes in general. And hopefully doubles then our fish production. That's what we're hoping for. So another, oh, since I'm bringing in a couple of vegetables, guys, but this time we're getting some wood arriving as well. So they've actually changed. They were producing food, but now they've changed because I'm going to assume they just wasn't profitable. So I think they'll go through a bunch of changes until they find the right industry that they can settle down with. So I'll save this open space here for some other stuff. And that factory is going to cause some type of pollution. So we'll have to start thinking about at some point where we can start planning out where we want like a decent industrial area for a bunch of workers. Is unemployment a thing at the minute? It is not. So if anything, I don't need to add any more jobs. I just need more people living here. So let's try like a different density of building then. We could go for some like medium row house style, or I can go for like normal medium density building. So I can do a 3x2 there. We'll do those three styles because they're all different. And obviously they're going to be somewhat of a decent size. But it's to get more people moving in. Right, what are these fish farms saying, boys? Can we see what they're fishing at the minute? No fishies. We can't see the fishies, boys. We can't see the fishies. What's that building got right now? 20 tons. So, I don't know when, like I said, we're going to export, but we haven't seen any vehicles yet. And I'm hoping it's not going to be a case of the cargo vehicles need to be spawned from outside of the region. I'm just hoping that's not going to be the case. Because it might be a little bit painful to get them all in. It could be that it just can't do it from this type of harbour as well. Right, another cargo ship coming in with the wood. So this will be a very, very, very long process to get its goods coming in. It will be a very, very long process. But it's about to drop off some wood, which might be enough. Now, I could create another cargo route on top of this. So I can have 6 boats coming back and forward, but that means more money. Right, how are these buildings here looking then? So they're pretty much the same on different tile aspects. Up to 9 households, up to 6. That one's up to 14. So I don't think I would want to go any higher than that, but I do like those styles. So I reckon then I'm going to go to about there with this. And then move this going down. So I like the uniqueness of this town. It does feel pretty cool. And we'll do it like that. And then I'll incorporate a 3x3 there. And a 3x3 there. So that gives us some decent sized housing. Yes, it is close to the factory. But I don't think it's going to remain there long enough. And I don't think we want to go any bigger than that with it all. So what's the fishing industry saying now then? We need more people, if anything, because I need people working in these jobs. So we just got to keep upping the population. There is some ambulance stuff now waiting. Is this the cargo boat? Yes. So where's the passenger boat now at this point? Is that it there? That is the passenger boat. So it's taking 8 people out of here. So we're kind of now hoping that it's going to be coming back somewhat full. An extra 19. Nice. Okay, we'll take that. We'll take that. So that'll move more people in. So medical. Again, this is where it now starts to become a problem, where we now start needing services, which what makes us spend more money. So we're going to have to get a medical facility in. There is no ways around this. So I reckon we should kind of create a nice little area we can kind of work with. So if I just bring that out like that, and then we'll look towards getting a small little medical clinic in. So I reckon we drop the medical clinic just there. And there we go, nice little ambulance and go. Oh, we've got vehicles. Guys, we've got the cargo vehicles. Wait, are you telling me we are... What are they doing? We've got cargo vehicles. They've... Timber. Okay, they're going back to the cargo place. So they've delivered goods, but have we seen anything come down this way yet? So no fish have been exported yet. I don't know if they get it to a certain capacity, but the cargo vehicles are working. Perfect. Right, the medical facility is in. I'm not a huge fan of that position. I feel like I want to pull it here. All right, just on the outskirts of town for just a moment. We're going to need to do policing at some point, so I might do a small police station just here. Right, do they have stuff we can add on to them? Not really. And then a small fire station. Now, how small is small? That feels like quite a big one. Huge, huge. The normal one. Oh, the normal default firehouse is not too bad. So I'm going to put that just there. So that leads up to having some services at the very bottom. But, right, it makes my monthly balance pretty big in terms of a deficit. But now we've got vehicles driving about. There is a little bit more life. Things are now slowly starting to come together. So we just need to now ramp up our exports. To be honest with you, I don't think we're even exporting right now. So exports, outside connections. Oh no, we are exporting fish and chemicals, but on a really, really small scale. So there's no fish on you. So it's either exported some and I've just kind of low-key missed it. But we need more fish production. That is what we need to do among anything else. So we need to provide more residents. So let's do that then. We've got employees, total workplaces, unemployment. It's super low. So let's see what we can do then here. So we will... And we're going to get this road there to connect into you. So if I bring you there and then we'll go for the bend here. 86. $88-ish. So that runs through like that. That works gloriously. We'll bring this coming down as well. And we'll pick a few little points. So we'll make this go back up into there on that connection. And then we'll bring you down. And then we're going to place down some larger size buildings just on the very end here. So that medium density is coming back in for the residential. So do a nice 3x3 there. Do a 2. Do a singular. Like that. And we'll do it like this. So some larger houses towards the end. And the town is slowly growing. I don't want to go too big, so I want to keep this a nice little sleepy fishing village. I feel like that's pretty good. But it's all about just getting all the right stuff in place. That's what it all comes down to, getting the right stuff in place. So no fish just yet on the ship, harbour, sorry. Lots of stuff coming in. Oh, there is a vehicle there. Oh, it's a police vehicle. Right, 30 tons of fish now in storage. So do we look towards maybe slightly extending this? Like I could bring this out and then look towards building more stops on. I don't have to do one per area. I can kind of like make them all separate. But I could bring this up to... Now, if I get rid of the... What is the extension in the middle? And then brought this out. So if I brought it out to here... And went across. I'm just kind of seeing how it works. No, I don't want to delete the building. Wait. What's it deleting? This. No, I don't want to delete the... How do I delete the... Oh, okay, that's easy enough. I thought I was deleting everything then for a second. I got really, really worried. Right. So if I went... Because you can't... You can't make it do one side, can you? No, it doesn't work like that. Like, you can't make it snap like that. Well, I can bring that further down here. And it's made a slightly... Oh, we've got more fish farming stuff there. It's made a slightly longer pier. But I don't know how it works in this regards. Because I've got that in. And if I wanted to create a fish route, I could do it on that one side. Do you reckon it's like too close? I'm trying to see how it works. It's a bit too close, isn't it? Even that one's too close. Which is a shame, really. I know I've got Anarchy on, which is making it a lot more difficult. Well, if I brought that there... and there, it does give us... a little bit more freedom. Now that one's already technically merged in it, so you can't really do anything about that. And it is a little bit close for comfort, but we have technically now extended the fishing harbour. So I could, in reality, get more lines now set up. So I could go from there. Now we are fishing all the same spots. But that's what it's about. At the minute, that is what it is about. I think they're coming back onto this one side on this. So I've now added in an extra 4. So we've got 8 fishing lines in total. So that should really ramp up our fish production right now. So we're losing 95. I'm losing now 109,000. Which is wild, isn't it? It is wild when you think about it. Now, why is that? Why are they not building here? Oh, we got no demand. Okay, that makes complete and utter sense. So how many people we got on our island? 238 people are now living on our little island. And this is where the challenge of this series is now starting to take effect. It's a case of, how are we going to make profit? Now, we can look towards also doing some inland fish farming. And I think we'll dabble with that next episode. But we've got all these fishing boats coming in. That's a little bit too close. I will redo it at some point. You know what I mean? We will redo it. But the bulkiness of it is looking pretty good. Our outside connection. So it is predominantly fish exports. Now we are shipping out some metal. Now I'm going to assume that's because that factory here has changed again. Somehow it's profitable, that factory. But we wanted to do fishing related or fish related products, which you could argue, right? Because the production. Hold on, let me get to the production. The production of certain goods, like for example convenience food, do come from fish. I don't know if it needs all of it or you can just take fish. But we could produce convenience foods and sell them. Am I taxing like convenience foods real hard? So if I reduce the convenience food down to 10% and food, because it's a byproduct of the fish. So we could make our factories want to produce food. Because we could create tinned tuna. So that sounds pretty exciting. So that when that factory like has to reset again, it might turn into being like a food processing plant. Right, okay. Very interesting. So we don't really have any more residential demand at the minute. Now, job market, we've pretty much filled it up to the point where there is a little bit of an employment now. So I reckon we could turn this area into a bit of a workers area and move it away from that. And just create like a small industrialized section just here for some factories. So if I brought this out and let's say I come just after the zoning and move that all the way down to there. And I picked another point. Let's just go randomly here. And then we could create just a couple of factories on this little strip of road. And we'll see what comes of this. So we'll do them to begin with, and we'll see if any of them are relating around any industry that requires to use fish. Right, there's a ship there going out. Nothing on board, no exports. Coming in with vehicles, which is hilarious that they want to sell vehicles even though they can't get vehicles on the island. So we'll wait for them to now get built, which will provide more jobs and then kind of, you know, stimulate the residential growth again. But ultimately, the goal at the minute is to get out of debt. And this small little part of the fishing area is not doing it. I mean, there is profit coming from it, but it's not enough to currently support a nation. We need more of them. We are going to need more. So that is producing wood. That's sorry, not producing wood. Sorry, that's producing timber. That's producing steel. That's producing pharmaceuticals. That's producing beverages. It comes from vegetables, chemicals. So nothing at the minute is producing anything from fish. But because of the way that we set the taxation, they should go out of business and eventually fall and land on what we want. So this is producing machinery. I'm going to get rid of this now because of the pollution it's going to cause around this residential area. And we'll go ahead and squeeze a few more of these buildings in. And we'll do it like that. And there we go. So I don't want to do any more than that on this town. It's a pretty decent sized town. And they'll build when they find the availability. So that would have gave us a few more jobs, right? Yes, it did. But the issue is now the jobs are becoming a little bit more highly skilled. So we would need to take a look at education. That's going to be my next factor. So I'm just doing stuff that's causing more expenses. A small elementary school right now would be perfect up in this area. So small elementary school. Let's make this go here. And then we will have to eventually start thinking about ways in which they can walk to these areas. I can do road connections, which is not a problem. But walkability will play like a big part in all of this. Because they can't use vehicles, they're going to be heavily reliant on being able to walk places. So we'll incorporate a little path there. Now, where else can we benefit from that? Like, somewhere like here is also a good little shout. There we go. We'll do something here as well. Just there is a good one. And we'll see if I can incorporate here. A nice little wiggles to the cemetery. And it's how walkable do I want to make places is the question. So I turn the snapping off. We can do something like that, and then you can incorporate something like this. Oh, that's oof those residential buildings. How has that happened? Alright, just little fun little walkable routes like this. I could get carried away with doing all this stuff, by the way. But it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the fun. I don't mind it too much. I don't mind it too much, boys. So, yeah, we kind of lost some buildings here, didn't we? So if we do like that, we might get like a different style of building. So I like it now. They're using my little walkable paths. It's making places more accessible. You gotta take advantage. You gotta, you know, play the cards that you're dealt. And we've got no vehicles. So walking and public transit will eventually become a big thing. It really, really will. So what's the storage here now like? 80 tons. We're losing 120. So not really much I can do about that, apart from changing some of the taxation. So for services, we could look towards, you know, adding a 120% service fee. I could reduce some of the budgets as well. 120% service fee. There we go. We could reduce the budgets. That's something that we could definitely play around with. I ain't going to do it yet, though. So a little bit of a service fee thrown in there. It kind of adds a few more pennies onto us, but not enough to kind of do anything at the minute. We can see where our money is going. So when you look at services, you can see what we can reduce. Like, we don't need such a high budget. Oh, boys, is this... Hold on. Is that the first truck we've seen in a while? This is the first truck right now we've seen that's going to export the fish. It's going to the cargo pier. We might need to upgrade this road from being dirt to a more solid road. So in it goes. It's now dropped off. So we've now got... Where's fish? 50 tons of fish ready to be exported. There's a cargo ship now coming in. With local mail. Which means the next 4 ships will contain fish if it chooses to export. It might not actually export the fish yet. Because this has only just arrived. It might be the ships that now spawn are coming to pick up the fish. Because that didn't know there was fish there available when it already pre-planned its route. So that could be something to look out towards now. We're officially going to be slowly exporting. And that's definitely going to raise our income. Very nice. Very nice, boys. So with a little bit of education then, that should go a long way in terms of making people smarter to pick up certain jobs. But we do need to provide more jobs in general. So I think next episode then, we'll look towards growing the fishing industry by building more fish farms and whatnot. That is a given. And then we'll start planning out where we want a proper area for industry and exports. But I think before we can do any of that stuff, we've got to focus on trying to make money. I think that is the be-all, end-all at the moment. We've got to turn... If we can't turn a profit, we're just creating more expenses. So, that is the challenge right now. Luckily for us, we've got $5.5 million available. But, can we make FishTown profitable? We'll see. We will see. Until next time, guys, we will end it here. Hope you did enjoy it. I'll see you all soon. So, goodbye.